welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted, as always, to be joined by Punch Up Boxing's Ra Hokum. Ra, you're currently in Rzeszow, Poland. I'm in Leeds, so we're quite widely spread in Europe at the moment. You're, of course, in Poland for the fight between Lawrence Okolie and Lukasz Rozanski for the WBC Bridgerweight title. And we're here to get some final predictions from yourself. Lawrence Okolie's the favourite here. He's not fought for pretty much exactly a year, has he, since he lost his world title to Chris Smith. Rozanski, undefeated fighter. He's been out the ring for a long time as well, hasn't he, to be fair? Last fought against Alan Babic. But yeah, I'll let you, as always, I'll let you speak. I'll let you get into it in terms of your final thoughts, final predictions ahead of the fight in Poland tonight.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by this. When a lot of our media colleagues heard I'm coming all the way to Poland to watch Okolie, when most of them say they'd draw the curtains if he was in their backyard, they did scoff at me. But I think this has a lot of intrigue to it. I do like Lawrence, which is why I'm here. He's a local boy to me, being a North Londoner, so it was good to come out here and offer some support for hopefully his second world title win. Now, Rozanski, I don't think there's no secret about what he does. He's a bull in a china shop, comes out the traps. There's no frills with him. He'll just come out swinging and keep swinging till the opponent's been laid out. And that's what's happened for 14 out of his 15 pro fights. He's an unusual one in terms of his career. He's been a pro for 9 years, a bit of a late starter. He's, 37 now. Only 15 fights in a 9-year career, but he stayed unbeaten and he's eventually got to the top. So I don't know why the Polish government subsidized his world title shot, whether he's got some degree of popularity here or not. Speaking to some of our Polish colleagues here, Ring Polska, who I met in Riyadh last week, said that Lawrence should win this quite comfortably. So there's an acknowledgement even here that he's rude and crude and doesn't have much else to him. Reason I think it's intriguing though is because we know what Lawrence's criticism's been throughout his career, the way he fights, the constant clinching, and that's indicative of the fact that he's not comfortable getting hit at all. Is it a sign that he doesn't have a trust in his own punch resistance? Probably. That's usually the case with fighters who do constantly clinch. There might also be a fact that there's a bit of method to the madness in that down at cruiserweight, the constant clinching, of course, did wear opponents out because he was a lot stronger than them at cruiserweight. Now at this so-called bridgerweight, which is basically heavyweight, for guys that kind of be bothered to go on a bit of a diet, it's going to be interesting because the strength factor, which Rozanski will bring, and the uninhibited attack, which, as I mentioned, all the signs are that Lawrence isn't comfortable with that. So this first time that he comes up against someone who he might not have strength advantages over and who attacks him relentlessly, I think it could be very interesting for the first 4 rounds at least, because Joe Gallagher's already said that Lawrence cannot expect any favours with the judging, the refereeing, etc. So he won't get away with the clinching any more so than he did in Bournemouth against CBS. So he might be forced to duke it out. Either that, or we might finally see some of the boxing ability that he must have to have got to the Olympics in a relatively small amateur career. So, yeah, I think this is just the sort of fight that could force the best out of Lawrence finally.
Yeah, look, it's a really intriguing one. Look, I accept this fight. It's maybe not for everyone. I don't think you're going to go. You're not going to get millions of people tuning in tonight, but It is a world title fight. It's always interesting to see how a fighter bounces back after their first defeat. Lawrence Okolie, new trainer, new weights, and he's up against an undefeated fighter. So there's actually a lot of intriguing factors here. Um, it's going to be super interesting, as you mentioned, in terms of what his approach is, how he boxes. Um, but yeah, I'm looking forward to this live on Sky Sports, as of course. Um, I'll give it over. I'll let you go first, Ra. I'm not sure what you're going to say here. I know you kind of always got interesting predictions, and sometimes they come off, sometimes they don't. But I'll hand the floor over to you now. What's your final prediction for this one?
Final prediction. I think it's really exciting for the opening bell. I think Rozanski will come out swinging, as we said. I think he will catch Lawrence in one of the early rounds. And I think we'll probably see Lawrence probably in a expect probably him to at the very least be buzzed, if not floored. But for all the criticism Lawrence has had, he's never shown mental weakness, and I don't think his punch resistance is maybe as bad as he himself thinks. Because we saw against CBS, yes, he was dropped heavily, but he got up and he didn't seem in serious trouble, and he recovered and got through it. So I think he will have the wherewithal to weather an early storm. Because Rozanski's so limited, I think once he gets through that storm, he will find the range, work out whatever he needs to, and start to tee off and land his own big shots. And Rozanski, his own punch resistance isn't great, and that's not a good sign when you're going to be a slugger. At the very least, you've got to have a rock solid chin if you're going to have any modicum of success. The fact that he got dropped by a very, very shot Spilker in the fight before last doesn't bode well. So I do think once Lawrence has worked out the lay of the land in the ring, I think he will start to connect with his own big shots, and I expect Lawrence to get a stoppage in 6 rounds. And hopefully set him up for some big fights at bridgerweight before he moves on to heavyweight. Like I said, I think Lawrence has been unfairly characterized. But someone who gets to the Olympics with a limited amateur background and a world title with a minimal number of learning fights, he's got to have something about him. So there's my final prediction: Lawrence Okolie, TKO in 6 rounds.
Great stuff. Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I think that in this sport, we're not we. I think people are very quick to write someone off, and I thought Lawrence Coley, to a lot of people, has gone from being arguably the best cruiserweight in the world a year, 18 months ago, to no good, basically, and that's impossible to to decline that quickly. I think it's been forgotten how quick, as you mentioned, how quickly he won a world title win. I'll similar to you, Ra. I'm going for a Lawrence Coley stoppage here, and I'll go mid rounds. I'll go rounds 5 to 8. But if I was to give you one round to kind of to brag about it, this prediction comes off, I'll go for round 7, and I'm going to ask you to do the same. Give us one. If you had to pick one round, give us one.
Specific round I'll go for is round 5.
Okay. Well, we're almost identical. Bra, enjoy tonight. I know it's going to be quite. I'm interested to hear all about it. We'll catch up with you next week on the experience in Rzeszow. I'll get the pronunciation of that city one day. Bra, enjoy it. Enjoy the fight, and I will speak to you again very, very soon.
Always a pleasure, Elliot.